Welcome back to the show, everyone. I am sitting down with a young woman who has built worlds that reveal truth through fiction. We'll be talking about some of her books, especially her novel Truthcry. In this novel, which is the first in the series, she captured the imagination of readers who are hungry for epic adventures that do not compromise on values. My guest today, Evelyn Grace, is proving that you can have high stakes, gripping fantasy, but still honors the light. So, welcome, Evelyn. I am so glad you're here on Avid Readers of Christian Fiction.
Hi, it's so nice to be here. I'm very excited to
Yeah,
share a
it's
little bit
great.
about myself and the books.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Why don't you just start by telling us just a little bit about who you are and kind of how you got into writing?
Oh, yeah. So I'm Evelyn Grace. I'm 18 years old. I wrote my first book at age 12, and I published it then as well. Since then, I've written 7 more books. My first 3 books are horse books for like middle schoolers, and then I slowly transitioned into Christian fantasy stuff. So that's what I write now. The book that we're talking about is the first book in a completed duology. It's my
Okay.
newest series. So, yeah.
I love it. And you have the covers there. So
Oh,
hold them up.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is the first book of the series.
Yeah, Truth Cries. I mean, it's
And
such a
then
beautiful cover. Yeah.
yes, and the second book here. But
Truth Call.
yeah,
I love
yes,
it.
my dad helped me out with the covers, so he's
Well,
a genius when it comes to all that stuff.
did a fantastic job. And I will say, your writing, like, if someone would have said, guess how old this writer is when I started reading your book, I never would have said 18.
Aw.
Just because, it takes a while to like understand fiction and dialogue and setting and how to set things up, which is super impressive. But that's a compliment. Like,
Aw.
you are wise beyond your years, and your use of fiction skills is like in par with all the other books I read. So that is excellent. So, how did you get started on this journey? And I mean, I wish I had been writing like that when I was 18. I was much older. But tell us about like how you even got started and then how you developed your writing skills.
Oh, yeah. So I guess I've always really loved books and stories. I read a lot, especially when I was younger as a kid. I would like devour every single book. It's mostly about horses.
Yeah.
I'm a horseback riding instructor and I ride horses, so
Okay.
it was something that I've always really loved. That's kind of what got me into stories and fiction. So yeah, I've always been reading books. I have a couple books that I wrote when I was like 8 years old, which I'm happy those. Let's just say it's good that they're not published, but it definitely got me started like thinking about different worlds and just experimenting with that. Yeah, and Broken Heart, the one I published at age 12, was like the second full length book that I actually wrote. All the other ones were kind of just snippets of that. Yeah, when I was younger, my brother and I often played with toys and stuff, and I was always the narrator. And so I had the whole cast of characters. And my brother was one character, so I think that definitely like helped that stoke that storytelling nature, I guess. I just
Absolutely.
learning how to craft worlds and have all the different voices of different characters. But I've definitely grown, like over all the books that I've written. Looking back, it's always a little hard looking back at my first books that I wrote, but yeah, it's been a cool journey, and I really love it. So it's fun.
I love that. Did you take any writing courses or any classes or anything?
No, not any creative writing classes, but just from classes at school, I guess.
Uh-huh. Very cool. Well, you have definitely developed the fiction writing techniques. And I love how you said like you used to like narrate with your brother and playing stories because my son, who's 32 now, who I've written books with, he did that with his friends. So he would sit
Oh,
there and they back in the day it was like Beanie Babies. So that each Beanie Baby would be a different character and they'd go on these adventures. And his friends would come over and he would like kind of lead them through story. Which looking back, I'm a novelist. So and I was writing books. Looking back now, I'm like, oh yeah, that is actually training for studying the high, raising the stakes and going on adventures and having the morals of the story. So I love that, even from a young age, I really believe like God puts it in people's heart, like what He designed them to do. And sometimes in those younger ages, we can see that. And I love that, obviously your parents and probably other people around you supported that, which is why you are today. So talk a little bit about that because I think, not all of us, but some of us have, younger people in our lives, and they're like they have these big dreams, and sometimes we don't take them seriously. But obviously, for you to be at this place, you must have those around you that have taken that, helped you take that seriously.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely my parents. They're very encouraging and they've always been there for me. It's been a big blessing. Like, they've just always been willing to, like, kind of, I guess, support me along the way and all these dreams that I had, like being an author and stuff. I can imagine a lot of parents might not be like super keen on it at first, but I thought it was really cool that my parents were able to support me in that. Um, my brother has been really cool too. As I mentioned, I experimented on him a lot with a lot of ideas. As I mentioned before, my dad helped me make the covers, and he's very techy and good with all that stuff. So he helped me publish on KDP, and my mom is there for all my crises I have in the midst of my books.
Yeah.
I have quite a few writer's blocks, and yeah, she's just always been there. I've had a couple teachers along the way too. My earlier stories, I think it was my fifth grade teacher, and she edited the entire book for me and gave it back with feedback and all sorts of stuff. And I thought that was really cool. So
Yes.
it definitely helped shape me as a writer, all of these people.
I would love it. Okay, so can you just read like maybe the first page of Truthcry for
Oh,
us?
yeah.
Because I think it's so, because I don't know. I want people to see like this is really good writing, even though she's young. This is amazing.
Oh, yeah, of course. How much? Like a paragraph or two, or?
Yeah, well, just yeah, for maybe the first page, and then wherever it finishes on the second page, like the second page.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay. The first chapter is called The Prince's Arrival. Across the golden meadow, a wall of darkness penetrated the golden dawn, skeletal trees guarding secrets better left untouched. Reaching out from the mass were tendrils of shadows, gnarled claws that seemed more hostile than they usually appeared. Rounding the corner of the barn, Kira Feldman halted mid-step. The basket in her hand swung before bumping to a stop against her leg. The song she was humming died in her throat, killed by the sight before her. Pulling in a breath, she shook off the sense of foreboding that had given the forest its infamous name, the Foreboding Woodlands. Before her mind could begin chanting the poem, she directed her feet toward the chicken coop, while resolutely focusing on the quiet beauty around her. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
very cool.
one
Yes, I
paragraph.
love it. Like you know that something's going to be happening.
Yes.
And yeah, I love that. Oh, well, I was looking at the Amazon reviews, and like so a lot of the readers were saying like it reminds me of this modern day Narnia feel. And but also there's a lot of it about just the truth, and showing the characters kind of God's showing God's love at a deeper level. So how did you come, first of all, how did you come across the idea for the story, and then why was it important for you to tie in that deeper truth of God's love?
Oh, yeah. I was greatly inspired by Chuck Black. A
Mhm.
lot of his books are just really cool. I loved how he would weave biblical truth and even spiritual warfare in a lot of his books. And yeah, spiritual warfare is a very big theme throughout this series. And I've always been so fascinated by it. Like, so many things are happening that we don't see. And like, our choices just really matter, not only in like the physical realm that we see now, but in the spiritual things that are happening. Ephesians 6:10 through 18 was something that inspired this book about like putting on the whole armor of God and equipping ourselves with the promises of God. So, yeah, I just incorporated that element in the book. I really wanted readers to feel as if the spiritual realm is like real. Like, it's real here, of course, too, but it feels a lot more immediate and physical in this book. So yeah, it's like a Christian fantasy in a medieval style world, but I have the dark ones, is what I call them. They're like the demons that the characters are fighting, and you see like real battles with swords as they're fighting against the lies. But it's also a lot of mental warfare because the dark ones are planting like seeds of doubt, or like
Mhm.
I'm not good enough or I'm not strong enough, and the characters have to learn how to wield the truth, is what I call it, talking about how they have to stand on God's promises in order to defeat the enemy's lies. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I know that all stories, all books we write, you talk, it's a duology, so there's two books in the series. They always start with like that glimmer of an idea, that what if, because I love Chuck Black. I know him personally. I've talked with him on many occasions. My sons, multiple sons, love his books. And so I would just love to hear, we get inspiration, but what was that first image or that whisper or that idea that told you there's this story about this girl named Kira, and like kind of launched the story. Do you remember when you first got the idea?
I don't really remember like the first spark for like the actual character. I do remember though the bare beginnings of this book actually didn't have any spiritual warfare at all in it. I wanted my past books were like Christian fantasy as well, but it wasn't quite as like strong of a theme, I guess, through it.
Hmm.
And so I wanted another like just action adventure, kind of a plainer story, I guess. But as I was fleshing it out, I think I was reading Chuck Black's book at the time, and I also love like Lord of the Rings and all of those types of
Yes.
books and Narnia, and so I just thought that I would really like to have a stronger Christian theme through this. And yeah, I don't know, I can't remember like the first image I guess that I had, but it was definitely a lot of things at once. Just I felt like a very strong calling to write a book that had a more immediate or like I don't know what's the right word for it, but a more present Christian theme, I guess,
Hmm. Hmm.
and incorporating all of that spiritual warfare into the book.
Yeah, it's like you have the spiritual element, but it's a part of the book. It's not like something else. It's not like you like have the story that you're going to tack on this little stuff here or there, but it's
Yeah,
almost like this natural heartbeat, this part of this book that is
yes,
woven in with
exactly.
everything. Kind of like you said, C.S. Lewis or Lord of the Rings or Chuck Black's books, any of those. And so I love that it's part of the story. It doesn't feel like, oh, I should say something Christian here. It's like no,
Yeah.
it's actually woven in, which I know you mentioned the dark ones, which are
Mhm.
more are similar, to demonic forces. And I've written historical novels before. I did some World War II ones where I kind of got into the dark forces behind the Nazis and what they were doing.
Oh
Even
wow.
my
Yeah.
more recent series with my son, book three, Twist of Time, has a definite spiritual. So it's almost like a Frank Peretti type of spiritual warfare stuff
Oh
going
yeah.
on too. So I know personally, there like I couldn't write or research at night because I'd have horrible dreams. Because there's dark. I mean, there's dark stuff out there. The Bible talks
For
about
sure.
light and darkness. So how did you balance like staying focused in the light when you're also writing about dark things?
Oh yeah. I guess I would say my book it definitely has like a creepy element and a dark element because I do address the dark ones and what can happen if someone's mind like is shackled by those lies. But I guess I tried to always end like the scenes with a sliver of hope. And I have a lot
Mm,
of characters that kind of points the main characters. So the two main characters are Wilkin and Kira, and they're both kind of fighting in their own ways against the Dark One's lies because they have their own inner struggles that the Dark Ones are targeting. But I have Sir Burchard, which is an older knight that they meet a little bit kind of toward the beginning of the story. And he places this idea in their head that the Dark Ones are able to be defeated, but you have to do it right. You have to be able to wield the truth and stand on God's promises. So I guess I tried to keep that thread constant throughout the whole book, just that idea that they can be defeated and God can be your shield and your strength, but only if you let Him. So I have a couple characters. Without spoiling too much, there is a character, a knight that helps them destroy a legion of dark ones, and I think that's
mm.
like the eye-opening point for the two main characters, where they see it in action. And yeah, I tried to end on that feeling of hope, I guess, that they can be defeated, and that God's presence is all throughout the book. You just have to let Him into your heart and let Him work.
That's so good. I love that. Tell us a little bit about the plot, like the back cover story or the elevator pitch. Sometimes we call it the plot of the book, because I love how these two characters are from completely different worlds.
Yes. Yeah. So Wilkin is a prince from one of the kingdoms called Scovlar, and Kira is a commoner from another kingdom called Conwald. And the two kingdoms have like friction with each other, histories of just fighting each other. And the book opens where it's possible that they'll have a treaty between them and that there'll finally be peace. However, it does not last long. Wilkin comes over to Conwald with his father. However, there's a threat of murder, and suddenly everything is thrown into chaos, and there's no longer a treaty like everyone had hoped for. And Wilkin is forced to escape, and he meets up with Kira, who is a commoner, and they're definitely from different worlds, but they're thrown together kind of randomly almost, and they're forced to fight to survive. They're attacked by the Dark Ones at the same time, So it's a lot of different forces at once. Like they realize that the kingdoms fighting against each other are not
Mhm.
the only two forces out there. There's also the dark ones. They need to learn how to fight that as well. Yeah, and then they embark on a quest together to go to Scovilar to figure out really like what happens and to fight against the bad guys,
Yeah, it's
human
so good.
and unhuman.
I love when it's kind of like the fish out of water scenarios where people don't fit in this world, but then all of a sudden they're thrown into it together, and then close proximity. You know that trope where we have to stay together, like we
Yeah,
have to fight this together. We can't. And so those it always makes for really good writing because any other time these people wouldn't interact, but now they have to. Not only do they have to interact, they have to become allies together and work together. So that's always fun type of things.
yeah, sure.
So when you are, talking about just fighting the darkness, was there any scripture verses or something that you really leaned on, or that really you talked about, the armor of God put on that? Was there any other scripture verses that really just were in your mind as you were writing?
Um, yeah, definitely that Ephesians passage. I think it's in First Peter talking about like the devil prowling around like a roaring lion.
Hmm.
That was definitely something that sparked some inspiration as well.
Hmm.
And ooh, let's see, like calling upon the name of the Lord and you shall be saved.
Yeah.
Um, just yeah, I can't think of off the top of my head like any
Just
specific.
putting you on the spot here, just putting you on
Yeah,
the spot. No,
yeah,
but I love that it's all those themes that we see in God's word that can truly apply and, like, see them act out, see them lived out through these characters.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, and I love the kingdoms and, yeah, all the common all the things. The medieval for fantasy, when you fix fantasy and medieval and stuff, it just always seems to work really well. It's always a fun read.
it definitely is. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of like Lord of the Rings, so that's something that I just love. Like that
Yeah.
medieval style, like sword fighting, but also a bit fantastical. So it's cool.
Yeah. And I also know that, these books are very clean. Even on your Amazon page, you're like, these are clean. And so I think that is so important because it is so hard for readers today, whether it's for themselves or whether they're looking for books for young people in their lives. We think things are going to be okay, but then you're like, oh, well, I didn't know that that was going to be in there.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember I go to the library and do the flip open test. My kids would have these books, and the cover looks great. I'd read the back cover. I try to read about the author, and then
yeah.
I'd say, let's flip it open, just randomly flip it open and start reading. And it's like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, no, you can't read this. And these are like targeted for younger, not adults, but younger people. And I'm like, it's so hard. So why was it important to you that you have the action, the fantasy, all these things, but it's also clean. There's not spice. There's not swearing, all those things in mainstream fantasy that just seem to be part of it. Why was that
Mhm.
important to you not to have those things?
Well, I like really love all of those things and I guess like the secular books and stuff, but I've always just been really bothered by how much
Mhm.
of like the spice and the swearing and the gore that's in those books because I don't feel like they're that edifying. And they just direct the mind toward I feel like the wrong things.
Mhm.
And the imagination is definitely a very powerful thing, especially when you're reading books or like watching movies. My mind can like dwell on the things that I don't want it to dwell on, and I just wanted to make a fantasy book that has those like really cool elements with like the action and the adventure and the intrigue and like the edge of your seat excitement type of stuff. But I also wanted it to be clean enough so it points you to Christ without dragging you away or tempting you to think about certain things.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, so this is the first book in the series is Truthcry. Show us the second book and tell us a little bit about that too, because it just
Oh,
picks
yes.
up where book one leaves off.
Oh, yes. So book one ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. They are almost completed with their quest. Trying to like word this right. Don't spoil it.
Yeah.
And, but yes, they're almost finished with finding out everything, but it all goes wrong toward the end. So I do leave at a big cliffhanger, but yeah, it. I have the book, the
Yeah.
next book, and so I was a
Look,
little worried
you don't have
about
to
that.
worry. Some people say, I don't want to even start the first one.
Yeah.
The second one's out. Well, the second one's out, so you can read that too. Yeah.
Yes, I always felt bad for my readers. Like as I was writing the second book, I was like, "Oh no, everyone else is just waiting on the cliff." But yeah, it's the next book completes the whole story, and it ends on a happy note. It's a happy ending, and yeah, the second book definitely dives deeper into their pasts and their character flaws, especially
Mm,
Wilkin. He's forced to struggle against kind of the dark side of himself as he is trying to lean on his own strength instead of on God's strength. And there's a really powerful breakthrough moment for him in the second book, which I just find really cool. I was very excited to write that part because
oh,
as I
yeah.
was writing him, I'm like, oh no, he's going downhill. But I knew it had to happen before he had that big redemption. And
Yes.
so yeah, the second book focuses more on like the character arcs and the redemption. It still has the dark ones, and there's a lot of epic final battles.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And hold that up one so we can see that.
Oh
The
yes,
Yeah,
this is the second
the
book.
truth call. Yeah, so good. It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm gonna have to do this to you, but you're gonna make a bad decision here that you're gonna have to pay for. Yeah, it's like
No, it's kind of satisfying as an author. I feel like
yeah,
it's a little sad. It's like watch your character burn, but then they have such a nice like redemption, at least most of the time. So
yeah,
it was cool.
yeah. I don't like books that do not end in with a happy ending. I
Mm-hmm.
get so mad, or a movie, like if I get to the end and it's not happy, I'm like, why did I just waste my time? Like I want to get that, like, oh, you can see God's hand, you can learn something or feel that hope. Yeah. So I love, we need some happy endings. So I'm thankful
Yeah,
for them.
I
So I'm
definitely
thankful that you
agree.
did that.
Yes, I agree.
So who would you say is your ideal reader for these books?
Ooh, I guess I wrote them for teens. I guess
Mhm.
somewhere around there. I know some younger kids have also enjoyed them. But yeah, I guess preteens, teens is who I wrote it for. People who like Chuck Black and C.S. Lewis. People who really like action and adventure. Um, yeah, I guess just any of those audiences.
Yeah. Or adults who like to read
Yeah, definitely.
YA fantasy books because they're super interesting. I went to
Yeah.
Realm Makers, which is a conference for speculative fiction writers, and I met
Mhm.
all these people and then started reading young adult fantasy or fantasy science fiction. And now I'm like hooked on it. So
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool genre.
yeah, so cool. Okay, so when people finish the last page of the series, so after they finish both books, years from now, what is one thing, one truth, or one hope that you hope that they have like kind of stuck with them through that time?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it might be to lean on God's strength instead of your own strength. Because there's a lot of lies that the enemy will give us just about ourselves, and it's so important to depend on what God says about you instead of trying to like grit your teeth and get through it by yourself. And I show that through a lot of the characters in my book, just them trying to do it all themselves and use their own swords to fight the dark ones. But what it really comes down to is just surrendering to God. And
Mm,
I felt like that's been a big theme in my life as well, something that God's been teaching me, just to be leaning on Him. And yeah, it's a common thread throughout my two books.
that's so good. That's I mean that's something that we could all that's a message all of us need.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, and I have to ask, so you're 18. Have you graduated already or
I will be graduating. So I'm in my last semester of school. So
okay. So and how do you balance? Because you have schoolwork. I'm sure you have other activities and then you're writing books.
yeah.
Yeah, how do you balance all of that in your life?
Sometimes it's a bit of a struggle for sure. I just have to kind of tell myself at this point in life, school takes the top priority. So I have to finish my schoolwork first, and I want to make sure I'm doing well in my classes before I can actually sit down and write my books. But I definitely carve out time for writing. Like I try to do it after school, and well, I'm part time homeschooled, so
Mhm.
it leaves me a good amount of time for my own stuff as well, which has been such a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been trying to. It is hard to balance it, and I don't get as much writing done as I sometimes would like to. But like over school breaks and once I'm finished with my homework, yeah, I just work as much as I can on my books.
That is, well, that's a nice balance of homeschooling. I remember because I've homeschooled my kids all the way through,
Yeah.
especially my second oldest, who's a university professor now. But she would get her stuff done in like 2 hours, and I'm like, there's no way. Like I just feel like she had so much stuff, and I would look, I'm like, it's done, and that is a nice thing. You don't have to like wait for everyone else. If you understand it, you could do the work and move on. So that is nice.
Yeah. It's definitely really cool.
Yeah. So, what are your aspirations after you graduate? Did you just are you just continue to write more books? Are you gonna go to college somewhere? Go do some other program, or what are your thoughts after that?
As of now, I just want to keep writing my books and
Hmm.
see where that takes me. I want to do more marketing, like things like this would be super cool, and yeah, just continue writing, get more books out there. I'm excited. I think I'll have a lot more time to do book stuff. So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to that. I won't be going to college. Maybe in the future I'll do some sort of writing class or something, but as of now, I'm gonna just work and see where it takes me.
Yeah. Well, hint. I only have my high school diploma too, and I've had
Oh,
written over 100 books, so I think you'll be okay.
wow, that's so cool. Yeah.
It is great. There are great communities out there, writer communities out there to get plugged into, just the friendships, the relationships. So, yeah.
Yes, that's definitely something I want to do more, like getting connected with those Christian groups. Yeah, there's really cool ones.
I love it. Okay, so here's another question. If you could sit down, and you've mentioned already some people that you really like, so we're gonna have to make you pick one. If you could sit down with coffee for any historical or biblical figure or writer to discuss books, writing, world building, story, and you can't say Jesus. We all would pick Jesus, but other than Jesus, who would you sit down to have a conversation with?
Oh my. Oh, that's a hard one. Probably Tolkien because I think his world building is so impressive. Just
Mhm.
everything that he's done with like the languages and the songs that he's written and all of the different characters and all the books. I think that would just be really cool to ask him about how he did all of that and how he dove so deep into that world. I just find that it's really cool.
Yeah, and him and C.S. Lewis used to like be they're friends, and so that would have been like, can we just like join
Yeah,
in and just listen to that conversation?
that would be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because I think it'd just be so fascinating. Just to even like, did they encourage each other? Did one of them feel like they were giving up, or did they brainstorm plots together? I don't know. It just seems like it'd be so cool to kind of be there.
It would be interesting to hear like all their brainstorming of what these like great books would have been or could have been without different edits that they made. Like it would just be cool to see their thought process through the making of the books.
Yeah.
Cool.
And how did you come up with that? Like, where did they? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was just so fun.
exactly.
Yeah. So, are there any other books that you're working on now?
Yes, I am working on the next book right now. I've written a good chunk of the rough draft, but it's definitely still a rough draft, so I'll need to
Yeah.
go over it a couple times. But yeah, it's another Christian fantasy. Instead of action, I'm leaning more into the drama and intrigue aspects. So a
Okay.
little mystery, some more like frictions and tensions between different characters. So I'm exploring that side of fiction a little bit more, but it's still Christian fantasy. It still has adventure. So yeah.
Very, but and you still have to graduate, so
Yes.
you have to finish. You have to finish that first, and then
Yes,
you.
I have to finish strong.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I have just had so much fun talking with you today. I cannot wait to see. I mean, I'm so proud of you for where you are now. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I cannot wait to see where God's going to lead you and all that you're going to be doing. And I'm sure that our listeners who are avid readers feel the same. Where can they go to find out more about you and your books? To look for Truthcry, get started on that, then get the next one. But where can they go to connect with you and find information?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's evelyngraceauthor.com. And I have links to my books there. I have a blog, and you can sign up for my newsletter. So I'll give like updates and writer life stuff. And yeah, you can find all my books on Amazon. They're all on Kindle Unlimited. So
Oh,
if you're
good.
they're free.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I
Well,
have an
great.
Instagram account too, but you
And
can
what
find
was the last one?
Instagram account.
Oh, good.
Yes, you can find a link to that on my website as well.
You're doing all the things. Look at this. because writing is more than just writing. There's marketing. There's yeah, website. I'm just working on that today. I was working on the book page of my website because I'm missing a whole bunch of books because
Oh,
it takes
well,
time
that's
to
so
like
fun.
put them up there and do all the things. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Yeah.
yeah. Well, Evelyn, I'm so glad that you've been here today. It's been a joy to talk to you, and I cannot wait for our readers to discover you because I think they're going to have a blast. And this is definitely a book that if you have a young person in your life, or even if you love this type of book, also for the young people in your life for birthdays or holidays, definitely it's clean, but you also know it's adventurous and there's a satisfying ending at the end of book two. So it'll be perfect for you to pick up. But thank you, Evelyn, so much for being
Thank you
here.
so much, Felicia. This has been really awesome. I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's great having you.